car a little bit.
Oh, damn. Showed them the pop and stuff.
I'm getting old.
Girl, I've been old since I was 16. What else is new?
Ooh,
Any,
I've also had arthritis since I was 17. So hey,
Same here. I found out I had arthritis in both my knees when I was wrestling. And
I actually had pneumonia, and I found out
you had
walking
what? Walking
for
pneumonia?
for 2 weeks. My mom did not believe I was sick. I kept telling her I was sick, and she kept saying, "Yeah, right." I took my SATs with pneumonia
Your mom
and
just
got
told you,
into every school I applied for.
wow. Your mom just said, just drink that Robitussin, you be all right. Put some fixed rub on your chest, you be all right.
I drove
Your
my
ass still
I
going to
drove
school.
myself to the doctor and found out I had pneumonia. Ugh, ugh. Anywho, that's another podcast.
Yeah,
My
that's
mom
going to be
sucks.
another podcast. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another show with no name. I'm your host, once again, Ken Jones. I know it's been like a long time coming, but sorry for the wait. I had some real life shit that I had to deal with because I was trying to get a new job, which I did. By the
Congrats.
Yeah, by the grace of God. So it's been like a bit stressful at the end of February, and I'm in a better mindset, a happy place right now. So by the grace of God, thank you. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a real nice show for y'all today, or whatever time zone y'all in. Just want to say happy International Women's Month. Shout out to the women out there supporting, putting in hard work. The world wouldn't be the way it is if it wasn't for y'all. So God bless the women out there. And once again, happy Black History Month. And yes, that's why I said it's Black History Month every month. Don't get it twisted, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all heard what I said. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce my guest. Uh, she's like a little long friend of mine back from Graham, Grambling State University. She's Graham fam, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, Damn, what's the tagline of Grambling? What was it?
Everybody is somebody.
With the fee sheet. There you go. All right. So,
She
yep. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have Kiera in the show right now. We're going
Hi
to
guys.
be, yeah, we're going to be discussing some nerd shit that we haven't done in a while. We're going to be discussing WandaVision and the future of MCU. And I put her on the show because I realized like how deep and in tune of a nerd that she truly and proudly is, ladies and
He
gentlemen.
put me on the show because he finally saw past this pretty face and realized I am a true geekazoid inside through and through. Don't let this pretty face fool you. I am a super nerd.
It is true, and we just literally had like a good 30-minute discussion, learning more about her than than I actually knew back in the day. So, Kiara, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it to you. Just tell the lovely people that's listening right now, watching this, about yourself.
Let's see. I'll be 29. We just brought up. So I'm 29. I am a Navy veteran. I did 6 years in the United States Navy as an aircraft mechanic.
Mhm.
Um, I'm tall, gangly, wear glasses, but people still think I'm a model and not a nerd. It must be the teeth. Let's see. I read all the books. I read comics. I read graphic novels. I'm into video games. I'm into anime. I'm into scary movies. All that nerd shit is just put into me. I store it all in my really long legs that people seem to comment on all the time.
Nice. Oh man. Have you ever thought about doing cosplaying?
Yes.
You
Uh,
ever done it? You ain't never done it yet.
I've never done it before. Every time I've had the means to do the cosplay, I was either deployed or stationed overseas. And then when I finally got out of the military and I lived in San Diego, Corona.
Hmm.
So, my go-to cosplay person would be, if I could finally get to one, would definitely be, now that I'm thin again, because I did lose 70 pounds in the last like 2 years. So now that I'm thin, I would love, love, love to cosplay as Jade for Mortal Kombat
Mm.
with her brown skin,
Hmm.
her juicy body. Everyone's like, why don't you do Jackie? Because Jackie's outfit is ugly.
We don't give a fuck about Jackie. Jade was the first black woman to come first
Thank,
before Jackie.
thank you. Jade
Don't
is,
let that Mortal Kombat 2 annihilation fool you. Don't let that fool you. We knew that she was black in Mortal Kombat.
she was always tan. Always. Like,
Hmm. Jade with her fine ass.
mm, yeah,
That Ethiopian body.
let's just think about it for a second.
Yeah, just let it marinate.
That would be my go-to. Would definitely be Jade, or I wouldn't mind going as Gamora.
Hmm. Gamora, really?
Yeah,
Damn, who was Gamora?
Zoe
Uh,
Sal-
huh?
Zoe Saldana.
Oh, ooh, I can really see that more than Jade.
What? Just
Yeah.
clothes. Like, look, sometimes I want to just be sexy. No, I'm just kidding. But Gamora's
Well,
definitely close second because Jade just requires me to put on an outfit. Gamora requires me to put on makeup, and I haven't worn makeup in years, guys. So I don't know how successful. Green outfit seems a lot better than green skin. A lot easier to execute, especially on my first go around.
yeah, it's just like reason why I say that because it's like you and Zoe, y'all pretty much have the well, I haven't seen you in person in years, but I can see that y'all have like the same body type and kind of like the facial structure and stuff. Like
I'm
I
definitely
would
shaped
say,
a
so
lot
I
more
would say
Gamora than Jade. I do not have big ass titties
she don't
and
got big
shaped like an
titties.
Instagram model. Because that's how they're all shaped. Although in this last iteration of Mortal Kombat 11, they put a lot more clothes on all the females. And good looks to them. Because I really did appreciate Jade was even covered up.
Yeah, I mean that I'm cool with that. Long as my girl's still looking good and sexy, I don't care about none of that. Uh, I would say, yeah, Jay costume would be the easiest for you to cosplay.
Hmm.
So I would say go with that and say the Gamora like best for last.
Yeah.
You know, because I could really see you nailing the Gamora outfit. So man, whenever you're ready, uh, let me know, and I'll boost the hell out of that. Cause and then
Well, shit.
yeah, and that's another thing I want to talk about on my podcast, but that's gonna be like another show because I'm trying to get like more black girls to talk about anime. You
Hmm.
know, even though it's kind of like it's really out there now, but I think I don't really see a lot of people talking about it, or maybe I'm not following the right people.
Right, because I've been watching anime since I was a kid. The first anime I remember I watched faithfully was Sailor Moon, and then I was really big into
Sailor Moon.
Digimon, not Pokemon, and then Inuyasha. And I remember in 2004 we got the very first dubbed Naruto from the very first season of Naruto. We're talking like Zabuza,
Hmm.
Haku, Chunin exams. Like we watched those religiously before they were even on Cartoon Network. And
Wow.
I remember thinking like, "Oh my god, I fucking love anime so much." And then when I deployed, I went back and probably ruined my own childhood because, we can't really watch TV when you're deployed on the ship. So people bring um, stuff on their hard drive and they kind of exchange it, kind of like cash. And
Hmm.
someone had the entire Sailor Moon series up to like the first movie or maybe after the second movie. And I went back and I watched it from the very beginning and ruined my childhood. Sailor Moon is really stupid. I can see how it would appeal to a little girl like me, but
Yeah.
that show is, oh my gosh, so annoying. Just imagine how stupid Naruto was in the beginning when it was kind of childish, but the
Yeah.
entire series is that.
Man,
And watched Inuyasha though as
a
well.
lot of black girls love Inuyasha.
Really? I mean, I loved Inuyasha,
I
but when I
love
went back to
Inuyasha.
watched it, the whole dynamic of the falling in love with the two girls, but that was also annoying too.
Mm.
Kagome was really annoying. It's just like
Uh,
when you're little, you don't really realize it because it's just so cool. When
hmm.
you go back, you're like, that was really annoying.
Oh yeah, like once you start to develop wisdom older as you get, and when you
Hmm.
go back watch it now, you're like, I don't know why I watched this shit. This shit is like completely stupid. Like for a big example, like Moesha, when Moesha got on Netflix, and then when
Oh,
our generation start to watch it, people realize like, hey, this girl is really a fucking brat.
I did the same thing with Sister Sister. As soon
Yeah.
as it came on Netflix, I watched the whole thing from the beginning and realized this is fucking stupid.
Mm-mm.
But it was just like it was the 90s and it was like cable TV barely. It was like what
It
you
was a kid show.
right. But when I'm watching it as a full blown adult now, I'm like, why are they not grounded? Why are they not arrested? Why are they not in trouble, murdered, raped? All the shenanigans they was doing. They was kidnapping celebrities. They didn't kidnap Lisa Leslie, I think, in one episode. I was like, huh?
Did not make any fucking
They
sense at
kidnapped
all.
the real Marcus Houston. Not Roger, but the real Marcus
The
Houston.
real Marcus Houston,
Or
yo.
Batman. I mean, it was just like a bunch of it was a bunch of shenanigans. They ran their brand new car off the pier and let it just sink and didn't even get in trouble.
Kids shows back in the day
Are
were
crazy.
fucking wild. Like,
I
okay, I'm gonna say this last part because I'm gonna get to the MCU real quick. This is the last part I'm gonna discuss. So I'm on Instagram, all right.
mm-hmm.
So it's this page. I think it's called Anime Fries or something like that. Anyway, it's like a page based off anime, and somebody had posted a Johnny Bravo clip, like basically like a little uh meme that's talking about like what we're talking about. Like kids show was fucking wild. So what happened? Johnny Bravo was on the plane, and he was having like fright for being in the air.
Right?
So yeah, so he went under his chair and he pulled out like this bag says pool in a case of emergency, and it had like emergency clown on it. So he pulled the bag and it inflated to this whole female clown, and she said honk honk in a very sexual way. And then Johnny Bravo, his eyebrow went up, and he took the inflated realistic female clown in the bathroom, and you just hear like these beat up punching sounds and the squeaking uh come out of the bathroom, and you hear this macho music coming out, and we're all like, what the fuck did he do to this clown?
Mm.
Like, we don't know. Like, in my mind and the kid, like, okay, he just beat up a female clown, but I like, wait, that's not
Cow and
good.
chicken was like that too. Cow and
Huh?
chicken. Cow and
Oh,
chicken.
cow chick was the word.
Rock with Modern Life. They really big with the sexual innuendos back then. That was like over. And me being the grown ass kid I knew, I would feel proud when I was like, that was a sex joke. As a kid, like, oh, they're being nasty. I know they're being nasty. As a kid,
Yeah.
like, why was I so excited for that? I don't know. I mean, other cartoons that I thought were really groundbreaking for kids that were probably well beyond our years were X-Men, Batman, Spider-Man. I
Mm-hmm.
watched all of those animated series, and I've even went back and watched X-Men animated series from the beginning because it's on Disney Plus. And I was
Yep.
like, wow, this show was really good. Like this was too much for kids at the time. And I realized that because my dad, who he was also in the Navy at the time too, would comb me and my sister's hair in the morning, and our routine would be we would watch X-Men in the morning while he was combing our hair. Cool for us
Yep.
because it's cartoons, but my dad, who was into the comics, was really into that shit.
Okay, so that was going to be my question for today's show. So
Mm-hmm.
it was your dad that put you on comic books, right?
It's a combination of my dad and my stepdad. My dad, we watched, like I said, the X-Men, Batman, Spider-Man animated series every morning religiously. Sometimes we watch Starship Troopers too. And that's really what like piqued my interest. And I remember my stepdad, which I met him when I was around 5 years old, had a, I'm pretty sure he still has it, mint condition copy, like in plastic, of Superman is Dead.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a rare ass copy.
Right. Like, with the funeral on the front and all that shit. And I remember reading I remember liking comic book characters because of my dad. And then I
Mm.
remember digging deeper into it because of my stepdad, because he actually had the comics. Like I remember
Books,
my
yeah.
stepdad had the Superman is Dead comics, but my dad had the Superman v Doomsday comic.
Mm.
So I read through, well, read like a kid would read and look at the pictures.
Yeah.
That, and I remember my first graphic novel I ever read, my stepdad gave me The Watchmen,
Ooh.
and I'll still
Dope
stand
ass
by
series.
this. I'll still stand by this. I've read majority of things based off books. I've read the books, and I stand by Watchmen having the only ending that was better than the book that I've ever seen.
Mm.
The ending of the Watchmen, the book, was really stupid.
Yeah.
The way they wrapped it up with a fucking alien, I was like, huh? But the way that they did it in the movie was way better done, and I cannot say that about anything else. I've read Twilight, I've read Harry Potter, I've read Divergent, I've read Hunger Games, Sister of the Traveling Pantses, Ramona versus Beezus. I read. So I mean,
Hmm.
of everything that I've read and seen film adaptations to, um, Watchmen is still number one for me. And someone wants to correct me in the comments, put me on,
I
sis.
don't know. I mean, that's going to be pretty tough because Watchmen is a very iconic series
Mm-hmm.
to read, and even the movie itself, uh, that was directed by Frank Miller, I believe at that time, was still like a well known. Ooh, have you watched the series? The on
I
HBO?
have not watched the
I
series.
haven't watched it either, but
I have.
everybody
Oh,
says
I
it's
don't feel
great.
so bad. I don't. I heard all good things. Regina King did her thing with it. I just don't know how I feel about stories continuing without any more source materials, because it means that someone else's mind is coming up with a story. So it doesn't. Sometimes those stories don't feel cohesive, and we
That's
found
true.
that out. Game of Thrones. Once they started bypassing what was going on in the books and started just making up what they think would happen, it got stupid.
So that leads to my next question, where you're talking about if things not related to comic books, not cohesive with certain things.
Hmm.
Um, MCU, when MCU got introduced by Iron Man in 2008,
Hmm.
um, was was that the movie that you really started getting into? Like, what really like got you like, oh, this is shit I'm gonna keep watching from now on. Like, what
Hmm.
movie was that for you?
Hmm. Blade.
Oh hell yeah! But the thing is, like,
I
Blade
know
came
Blade's
out
not
before it.
MCU. I know it's New Line Cinema.
It's
I
coming
know
though.
but that was a Marvel movie, because again, my dad put me on Blade. First time I ever saw Blade was with my dad. I had no
And it was
idea
the
Blade was Marvel.
it
No
was the
idea.
first it was the first biggest Marvel
Hmm.
movie by rated R before Deadpool.
And people keep
So
forgetting about Blade when they say, "Oh, Black Panther's the first black." Did Blade
no,
not save y'all from vampires 3 times?
no, you can't you can't
Huh?
knock you can't knock when Wesley Snipes did now. Wesley Snipes, that man deserved his roses for what he did. Like, 'cause we talk about Wesley Snipes in the prime.
Right.
Like,
But Blade was the character that made Wesley Snipes lose his mind, pretty much, where he got to the point where he was too big to be paying taxes, and he was doing all kinds of, by the
yeah,
time it got to Blade Trinity, he forgot he was Wesley Snipes and just thought he was Blade.
then him a director was beefing so bad, like he'll
He was
have to send,
notes as
yeah,
Blade, and it was just weird.
just
And
petty shit.
I don't knock MCU, because Mahershala Ali is the new Blade,
Yes.
and Wesley Snipes has no involvement in it, and people are kind of mad about that. But you got to think, MCU is such a big fucking thing now. We can't risk bringing on Wesley Snipes and back to Blade. He barely got back good enough to be in Coming to
Well,
America.
oh, I ain't see Coming to America too yet.
I did not see that either, but I do not care.
Yeah, but they said that they was talking to Wesley Snipes of bringing him back, and then what happened when Mahershala Ali won that Academy Award, they was like, you know what, let's give him a call back. And so they accepted to get him to come in as Blade. And they were still in talks saying that we could still use Wesley Snipes.
As Whistler.
Yeah, as either Whistler or some type of mentor. But they said they were in talks of bringing the Wesley Snipes back
But
in the
Wesley
Blade.
Snipes wasn't coming back unless he was fucking Blade. Wesley, you can't keep being Blade. You're a half vampire hybrid, but you aged like dirt. That makes no sense.
I thought it was the other way around. Like I said, they called him and reached out to him for him to come back as Blade, and I remember, I could be wrong, but I do remember like Wesley Snipes coming out with a post like, he was like really cool with it, like
Right.
well, probably like for PR reasons, you know how that
Mm-hmm.
goes. He probably maybe he did feel some type of way about it. I don't know. But I just hope everything is all well good and stuff. Like I'm perfectly fine with Mahershala Ali. Uh,
I wouldn't be surprised if some way, somehow, Wesley Snipes is in that movie. They bump into him and they turn around into janitor or something. I feel like he's gonna be in this movie, kind of like how Patty Jenkins was at the end of Wonder Woman, 1984.
that movie though. I
Like,
don't know. I don't know if you like that movie, but that movie was a letdown for me.
really?
Cause
I felt like the people said it was like two different genres. Movies from the first one, blah blah blah. But then you got to think about it. We were in World War One in the first
I
one,
no, it's
and
not.
they
It's not
look
that.
all kinds of like that.
Yeah,
That's just the times.
yeah.
The
Look.
times.
It's not the fact that about that. Yeah, I know the times and everything was different because I know people gonna be tripping about like she jumping and flying and stuff. How come she ain't flew in the other movies and stuff like that? I mean, at that time she
She
probably
left
didn't have to.
Themyscira a week ago. She didn't know she's not that strong on her planet. She's like Clark when he's on Krypton.
Yes.
He's okay. He's a strong man. There's strong people on Earth, but he's not Superman.
No.
So when Diana she's strong. She is made from clay by her mother. She is like a divine being. But when she's in Themyscira, everyone's fucking strong.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
when
it's
she left
just
Themyscira a week prior to the what happened in the first one, she's had decades, hundred years to figure out the shit that she did in the second one.
yes. I mean, my like I said, my thing was this. It ruined it for me. Um, I'm just gonna stop all. I'm just gonna start with like the simple one, like the fight scene between her and Cheetah.
Yeah,
That
that was
could have
very
went.
stupid.
Yeah, that could have went a lot more better.
That was very, very stupid, very CG heavy, very hard to even keep up with because it was
Yes,
dark. It was a dark scene.
yes,
They
yeah.
didn't do Kristen Wiig any justice. Her
I
transformation was
love
like
Christian
it
Wiig.
was. They seemed like her transformation was making a lot of sense, and then all of a sudden she's just a full blown cheetah standing on her hind legs. Like what the hell? That escalated quickly, even though we spent 2 hours making it seem justifiable what was going on with her.
Yes. Um, I will give it like a pro. I will give like one good positive about it. Well, more positive. I really love the fact that we finally got to saw like the Invisible Jet, her using the lasso and the lightning strikes and stuff like that. Like, cause that's what she did in the comic books. Like, Wonder
Mm-hmm.
Woman is fucking strong, all right, and
She's
fucking
built
powerful with
so
magic.
much because of like people our age that don't know past the lore of the Justice League cartoons and
Hmm.
what they've seen recently. They don't really know these characters. So
No,
when characters start displaying things that are generally no they're known by in the comic books, people are like, "Oh, how the hell she just come up with that?" Like she didn't just come up with that. Like that happened 65 years ago.
okay, yeah, okay. And here's what pretty much like ruined it for me is the fact that her love life just came out of nowhere, because she made a wish to the stone, and then you got this like I just wish they could have planned it out better for him to just come
Appear.
back. like to just appear, like not
Yeah,
to show
the
up.
whole body snatching thing was kind of giving me the chills because they did have sex at one point, and then at one point you did rape that man's body.
And she was trying to keep him too, and he
It
had to
was
tell
trying to
like,
keep him. And the
yeah, he
crazy
was
part
like,
is
I'm in a
only
different
she
dude's
saw
body.
Steve. Only she saw Steve. The audience, we saw Steve through like her eyes when really everyone else sees this regular ass guy. And
Exactly.
it's like, what the hell? This guy didn't go to work. This guy's probably a missing person. This guy didn't got shot at, was getting all kind of stunts thrown at him. When he finally wakes up in that corner, when she takes her wish back, and he's just in the middle of the street, I'm presuming he just comes back to life. I know he's like, ouch, I'm hurt.
Hmm.
What the hell?
And then ain't nobody called and check on this nigga. Like this dude been gone
Was
for at
he at his
least,
house at one point?
yeah. Like
Oh,
he woke up in this dude's body in his house, and then he went to go look for Wonder Woman. Uh, and then no, the next thing you know, he appeared at Steve's face,
and
and
then they were in another country. Did they not go to another country?
yeah, they went. They. That's a whole doggone week adventure.
Yep.
Like, if ain't nobody seen or heard from me like in a whole week or something like that, people will be like, "All right, what's going on?" It
Crazy
it
part is
should have just
no one would look for me after a week. I guarantee it. My job might be like, what the hell? But I can't think of one person after 7 days of not talking to me where they would be concerned.
oh damn. I
That's crazy.
mean, I do like I said, I follow you on Facebook, so I do kind of like look forward to what else you gonna say crazy next. And
Crazy. Very logical questions I
well,
ask.
logical, Chris, I would say crazy. I would say you do have some goofy stuff on there, but not like crazy asinine or something like that.
Right.
But I
Hmm.
do look forward to it. Like if I do see like you not being on there for a while, it'll be like a hint, like okay, something is going on. But like I
Well,
said,
thank you.
yeah, and like I said, the way how the discussion is going right now, like with other MCU stuff or comic book stuff coming up, you'll be welcome to come aboard. Like I would want you to have it along. But anyway, um, let's get back to it.
Oh,
Uh,
so distracted. So sorry.
no, this that's good. Like that's what happens in a good show. Um, so as we can see, you're really in tune with your comic books. You're really in tune with basically anything goes on in the movies with MCU or DC comics and stuff. So I'm just gonna stick with the main subject of this show. All
Okay.
right.
Got you.
So WandaVision
Hmm.
came out and the series is finally over. It's been like a week now, I believe, correct?
Hmm.
Okay, so and I've been trying to get you on. I've been trying to get you on the show during the series, but I think this is better since we can now like say our
Talk about it
theories
as
or
a
whatever.
whole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as a whole now. So the series over. I saw that you weren't really satisfied with the ending. So like what's really your thoughts and opinions about the whole show of WandaVision?
Well, it has been a week, so let me just start by saying, the series as a whole, don't get me wrong, on last week's comments that I made, the series as a whole was a very good series. It was very out of the box for MCU, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's another reason why, um, don't hate me, but I'm not exactly um, excited for the Falcon Winter Soldier show because
Really?
it's basically that's just going to be a 6 7 hour Marvel movie.
Really? Hmm.
I'm not as I'm really I think I'm biased because I'm not a fan of Anthony Mackie. Not a fan of Anthony Mackie. I don't like the Falcon's character. Not saying I don't like the Falcon. I just don't like Anthony Mackie as the Falcon. That's for something else. Well, I'm pretty sure we'll be talking about that show
Yeah.
on a later date. But
You're not the only ones. A lot of other people feel like that. I don't know why, but
okay,
go
good.
ahead.
I'm not alone. I don't want to seem like I don't support my fellow black man, but I do not like him. But anyways, I felt like the series was good and genius because it didn't feel like it was always a Marvel movie. It felt like, and then I felt like this is what the Multiverse of Madness is going to give us, and I can't wait for that to
Mm-hmm.
come out. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
can't
It's
wait
going to be
for it.
something completely different from all of our fighting and an army of faceless robots and a big hole ripping out the sky, and
Mm-hmm.
we're fighting each other, multiple fight scenes here, fight scenes there. But that, what disappointed me is that's how WandaVision ended.
Mm-hmm.
Big explosion in the sky. There was no faceless army of disposables like they always do in every gathering of MCU characters. There's always a faceless army that makes, you have no stakes in it. They die when you fucking touch them. And then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden one button hits and then they're all dead. Literally
Right.
back at all the movies. Or they have multiple fight scenes where they're fighting over there, they're fighting over there, they're fighting over there. And for the entirety of WandaVision, none of that. It was a
No.
really good story where every episode was different from the last, but it tied into a whole big story, and I really appreciated that. I am kind of sad that not one fan theory was correct.
Nope. And I'm gonna
Not
get into that. I'm gonna tell you why too.
one fan theory that I have seen for all 9 weeks was correct. None of them.
Yep.
Sadly. Um, I do wish that they would have just made it a solid 10 episodes.
Hmm.
Why why rush the ending like that? Like, no mention of, she just walks right out of Westview past these people she's been torturing for God knows how long. We're gonna say a week because that's how long Darcy said she's been watching WandaVision,
Mm-hmm.
and walks right past them. No one
Yep.
says Hayward. I feel like he was shoehorned in there as a villain.
Yeah.
Um, I'm glad that we got. I don't know exactly what they're gonna call Monica because she goes by so many things in the comics.
Mm. Hopefully
Spectrum,
photon.
Photon. I don't know who she's gonna be, but I am glad to kind of just get her origin story kind of pushed in there too, so that when we
Yep.
see her again, we don't kind of gotta go back. We don't gotta go
No.
back and rehash that.
No.
But it seemed like a lot of stuff like wasn't answered, and I don't know if they left a lot of that stuff open ended because this is supposed to be the start of a whole new phase,
Yep.
which that can be explored over 6, 7, 8 movies of unanswered questions finally being answered somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I can kind of see why they're just like, all right, we got to wrap it up. And it's also noted that when this first got announced, this was supposed to be the second show, not the first one.
Hmm.
That the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to come before this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that is right. It was supposed to be Captain Falcon and then WandaVision. Reason why is because of that,
They
because of
stopped filming.
COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and WandaVision was already close of being done than
Yeah,
Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier because Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier they had like a lot of stuff for the
they
show
were
that
on
they had to
site.
film.
Yeah, I heard they go on site a lot to wherever
Yeah,
they are, country stuff. And WandaVision was pretty much a set,
yeah.
so
It,
that
it was just, it was very simple. It was like a very simple set. Like they had like a live studio audience and all kinds of stuff.
yeah, they
Like
didn't. They also didn't require a lot of extras. Like
nope.
the Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to require a lot of extras in every place they go to. WandaVision had the same actors playing multiple roles. Those people could have been easily quarantined. The only extras we ever saw were the people on the base outside of the hex,
Mm-hmm.
which they got, recycled again once they got swallowed up in the hex. And
Mm-hmm.
we only see a handful of the Westview citizens pretty much. And then we have that one shot with the kids on Halloween. And then I'm assuming those are the same kids that jumped in front of Darcy and Vision on the way back to Westview.
Right. How
So
did you go ahead? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, how did you what? Go ahead.
How did you feel when you saw the other Quicksilver popped up on screen than the other one?
Okay. I knew Aaron Taylor Johnson wasn't coming back. I knew that wasn't going to happen. So when I saw that someone knocked on her door, I was like, it has to be Evan Peters. And I was
Mm-hmm.
correct. But then again, I turned out to be bamboozled again. So I really was like, yes. And then that was quickly ripped from me like Ralph Boner's speed necklace. in the last episode.
Let me tell you what's going on now. And I want to say, I guess like after Endgame, when all these big changes and stuff like is about to happen with TV shows and all kind of shit. Let me tell you what Kevin Feige got it figured out, and other people in Marvel. They realize how strong of a fan base we really are. Like, well, I mean, how strong. Like, whatever single thing that you will put on a show or a movie, we are gonna to break down the
We
fuck
are
out of it.
do our research,
We gonna do our fucking research.
and they
So,
definitely knows that for sure because he basically let us tell him who we want to see, what we want to happen,
hmm
because none of that shit was that played out. None of it.
no,
No
it
Night
had
Fisto,
no
no House of M, no mutants,
no Grim Reaper and no
no.
Mephisto. Like, see that's the thing. Him, and the other people in Marvel Studios or whatever figure out a way how to really troll us now.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, I'm kind of like
I'm
a
okay with
little
being
bit.
trolled.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's just that it started off as such a strong tease. I want to say WandaVision had led the strongest tease out of everybody else that are
Man,
big fans of the MCU
man.
because
And
you know,
they were planning on it on purpose too, because
oh yeah,
Paul Bettany went on and did an interview talking about I'm so excited to work with this mystery actor. I can't believe I get to work with this person and it's himself.
mm-hmm,
Did that on purpose. They even did it with the marketing because Pietro, what we're calling him, I guess, his
mm-hmm,
Funko Pop, everyone's Funko Pop has their name on the bottom. His had his name in quotations.
yeah,
The way that they marketed it, they even was telling you that we're playing you, but we still were like, nope, we read comics, we know what it is.
yeah. And see I tell you really they got it figured out. And then working on set with Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige, like information that you found out on script or anything dealing with the show is very sensitive. And
Oh, definitely.
the main person that's the one that kind of like ruins it for everybody is Tom Holland because he's like legit the goofy
They
Spider-Man
made
Peter
him.
Parker. Yeah. So for people like him, we'll have to just throw off like different, like everybody has their own script, but they don't really know what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So you really have to do this stuff to keep him from saying anything because he's really excited about it. Like another troll that I fell for when Tom Holland had dropped the title of the Spider-Man called, and I posted it. At first it said Spider-Man Phone Home. I said that is the dopest fucking title ever because everything got a home in it. You know, you got Homecoming, Far From Home, and we wondered like, okay, what's another one gonna be? Phone Home. Like, oh, this is gonna be like some galactic
Mm-hmm.
shit. And then they came out with a real title says No Way Home. I say, you bitch. All right.
They did that because they were like, it's like when you tell a lie, like what Beyonce did with her baby, where they gave everyone fake pictures of Blue to see who was going to bust them out.
What? I ain't know that.
They gave fake picture. No, it wasn't Beyonce. It was Kim and Kanye when they had North. They gave their friends fake pictures of North, like of a fake newborn, to see if those pictures got leaked. And if they
Oh.
did, then they were like, "Hello." And they do this similar. They did. I was just watching because I'm really into scary movies, so I watch a lot of breakdowns for that too. They did this
hmm
in the making of the Scream series, not the series, but the franchise.
Yeah.
When Because Scream has always been known for having two killers revealed at the end. So when the actors get their scripts and they don't get the end of it. They go into it thinking I could be the killer, or I could be the killer, or I could be
Yeah.
the killer, and they don't really know.
Yeah.
So I think that's it's cool that they don't even know either, so that when they're surprised, they're really surprised. And I like stuff like that. I think that's
Yeah.
really like don't let nobody ruin it for everyone else.
Yeah. They did that for Endgame, most definitely, because when they was like behind the scenes, like they was like, doing behind the scenes filming. Uh, you had the actors, just telling their stories in the background, and I forgot which one it was. I don't know. It was I don't know, Black Widow or somebody. Somebody had said like, we don't even know what's going to happen because it's so many different variations how they do in movies. Like you have one scene, another one, and an alternate. Eventually, one of these scenes is going to be a deleted scene. One of them is going to be an alternate scene.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, they just
Know
know
what's canon.
that,
You don't know what's canon when you're filming, and I think that's brilliant because
yeah,
the actors go on so many press tours, and I'm talking like 3, 4 things a day, and it's like hard for them to not slip something up when questions are worded so cleverly because they will
yeah,
word a question where it's like you're gonna give me an answer, but you don't think you're giving me an answer, but eagle-eyed fans like us and me are gonna know you just spilled the beans.
exactly. And so it's like, I really do love it like that because they don't really know the whole filming of it until the premiere. Like with the premiere shows, that's how they know that's how it really ended, how it really starts, of what's really happening in the MCU. So
They I love that. I love that concept. They do that on Drag Race. Shout out to Drag Race, where the ending, it's even though it's filmed live, they film all three or two people winning in front of the
mhm,
audience, so that if you were there at that live studio audience, you saw both people get crowned. You don't know who until it premieres on TV. Even the queens themselves don't know until it premieres on TV when they're watching at their own watch party if they won or not.
exactly.
And I think that is genius.
Yes. So like I said, my opinions about WandaVision, I really love the build up. I
Mm-hmm.
love the because WandaVision is not the only show that it's not going to be climactic as you think it would be in the first two episodes. And that what people like really lose interest. It's like, oh man, this shit is so
I
boring.
was
Like, was
excited after those two black and white episodes. I
yeah,
was pumped because you knew the whole season wasn't going to be like that
like
from all
shit. Go
but
ahead, go ahead.
people gave up. People gave up. You saw that there was going to be a Halloween episode in color. You saw that most of the show was in color, but
Yeah,
people saw those the first hour of the series and was just like, nah.
man, I'm telling you, you got to keep like I keep telling people, like, do not judge a whole season off the first two or three episodes because
Right.
like if it's like that, then shit is about to get real
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the season. And it's like you gotta look for the little hints, like
A whole
the
eye.
yeah, like the first the
The
first
first
episode.
conversation they had, my wife and her flying saucers and my husband and his indestructible head, I was like, ah,
Yeah, no,
over people's head,
the
over their
one,
head.
yeah, the one that I really like know that shit was about to get real was, you know, the guy was choking
The dinner
at
scene.
the dinner scene, and the mama from the '70s show was saying stop it, and then Vision looked at Wanda, and Wanda just told like help him, and the little stuff like, oh, this
Mm.
shit is real.
But you gotta know that at that point in the series, Wanda didn't even know what was going on either.
No, 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 she
She
didn't know what
didn't
was going.
know, and she didn't know what was going on until after she gave birth.
Hmm.
So she was still like, "What the heck is going on?"
Yeah. So, how did you feel about Agatha being the main one in control? Because it was a lot of speculation and fan theories, and I'm pretty sure you watched all the
think
YouTube
I
videos.
think Agatha is the only theory everyone got correct because people took one look at
Yeah.
it and said that is Agatha.
When her name is Agnes, is like that's Agatha.
Everybody took one look at that and was like, "This nosy neighbor's a little too nosy." By episode 3, we were already wondering where her husband was at. It was already kind of odd. It was so obvious that they did it on purpose. I'm assuming they. It's like they made us theorize about other things, but they purposely made you. They wanted you to know that Agnes was Agatha. But how Agatha was portrayed, I think, in the series was what threw people kind of off, and then it got thrown off even worse when it was the Agatha all along when it really was not. And then when most people think of Agatha Harkness, they think of, besides her raising Reed and Sue's son, she's
Hmm.
basically like a Dumbledore to Wanda in the series. And even, when she, dies momentarily, no one dies in comics, and is
Yeah.
brought back to life, then, she still is, I don't want to, she's like an anti-hero. She's kind of like a Venom
Yeah,
without
she's
doing
in
all the bad
between.
stuff.
She's like Scorpion. She's
Right.
neutral.
Right. So, but I mean, for the most part, she's always worked alongside, from what we've known of her, because you got to remember, Agatha is from old Salem.
Oh, yes.
So we don't really know what happened between, and they don't really touch on this on WandaVision either. When we meet Agatha in the comics, she's an old lady.
Hmm.
When we meet Agatha in the show, she's not an old lady, but she's still been around since the Salem witch trials. So we don't really know what happened in between those times. So she could have been a bad guy reformed, but by the time we meet Agatha, she's always already just trying to work for the goodness of magic. She, even in the show, she wasn't doing anything. She wasn't doing anything except literally being a therapist for Wanda. Use your powers. Remember.
So
Why are
do
you
you
doing
think? Yeah. So you basically like she just really just trying to help like WandaVision like take her powers and just because
I
she pretty much noticed how powerful that she really is because like I said in the Dark Hole book, Scarlet Witch is a very big deal. Like it's a big no-no in magic. So
that's
if
that's
the
another reason why I don't feel like she was taking Wanda's power to be malicious. I feel like she was taking Wanda's power because I read this book. You don't know shit about what's going on with you. Look what you did to this people.
hmm hmm
So just give it to me because you don't know what you're doing. I don't There was like nothing in the series that would led me to believe that Agatha was coming from a place of malice at all. She killed Sparky just to see if Wanda could bring him back. And I don't know why Wanda never thought. I don't know if she was losing her, she was coming out of reality at this point, but at one point in the series, and Vision points this out, Wanda just doesn't give a fuck about Agnes being here when her kids are phasing up. She's she's fixing broke things and pulling things out of thin air, and Vision's like, hello,
the
Agnes
fuck
is
you
right
doing?
there. Yeah, like, what are you doing? And she just, at one point, it was just like, why did she feel so comfortable to do this in front of Agnes? She had to have known. Like, what? I don't understand why she felt like she could do all of that in front of Agnes with no consequences.
Right. So, which that's a really good thing to point out. I didn't really, I really did point that out at first. Like Agnes, only thing that like led me to believe like she's an overall bad guy is that when the introduction of Agnes came out, after that episode, they start showing the history of Agatha. That
Hmm.
they took her to the pole, and then she pretty much wiped out all these witches, including her mama. That was her mama, right?
I don't
It,
feel like she did that on purpose.
you really think so?
I don't feel, because it seemed like when she was really asking them, can you just help me control it? Please? Hello? I felt like it kind of became involuntary, and once she got all of the power, then she was just really like hungry, or I don't want to say it, mad off of that power. But I mean, I when she was first on that pole, I really do truly believe like she was genuinely reaching out for help, because she saw that Wanda had all this power, and she was like, let me just help you.
So basically, you saw it as like Agatha seeing herself through Scarlet Witch,
Right.
through through Elizabeth, I would say. Uh, what's Scarlet? Wait, that's not her name. What's Scarlet Witch real name?
What do you mean?
Like
Wanda?
her Wanda. Yeah, my bad.
So
I
what do you mean?
Well, because I'm calling her by her real name in life, like
Oh,
Elizabeth
y'all was like
Olsen.
Elizabeth. Yo, Elizabeth Olsen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what my brain had went to Wanda. Duh. So basically, what you were seeing from that theory, um, that Agatha was seeing herself through Wanda and was trying to keep Wanda, turn it
From
into
causing
something.
mass destruction.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
look what she did on accident.
out of straight emotion
Look
too.
what right. Look what she did on accident. What she was like, if you are just working out of the emotion and you're hurting these people, you're literally put them in a chokehold.
I mean, that's the whole thing I was just seeing out of WandaVision was when after it'll build it up, like what's the real reason? Because like it really makes you sympathize
Right.
for because like she literally been
Back to back.
losing back to back. Like WandaVision, Wanda was just 2020 ever since she was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So like lost a brother, a family, and Vision, and brought her back. Like Vision is
I
like
have
the
a question for you. Do you think Wanda gave Pietro powers, or do you think he really got speed from the Mind Stone?
see
Because
that's the see that's the see
they awoken dormant powers in her because she already had the power to stop that bomb from blowing up for 2 days. Peter wasn't fast. Pietro wasn't fast.
no he
So I
wasn't
can
fast
see how the Mind
kid.
Stone accelerated her powers. Where did he get his powers? Because those powers, she gave those powers to her kids too.
Yeah, she did. And see
So,
a whole see they're very good of making sure not leaving out plot holes in the MCU. But to your answer, I would say yeah. Like if she got accelerated by the Mind Stone, and then when he walked up to it, it
I feel like that
probably
would have
like
killed
enhanced
him.
it, huh?
I think that would have killed him. I feel like she gave him powers so that they would stay together. Because what if they found out, all right, this one's useless?
You know when you think about it, it could be like just similar like what Agatha did to the fake Pietro, like
Mhm.
just
I feel
manipulated.
like she put mind powers. She gave him those powers because they weren't really real powers. Like he just runs fast. I mean, granted that is real powers. Like I mean, I would love that,
Yeah,
but you know what I mean? It's not she didn't give him any like super strength, no mind powers like her. And then she in turn did the same thing to her own child.
that's a good ass question.
I can
I,
understand how
I,
powers would go to one kid, but where the hell did these speed powers come from for them to be genetic? I mean, granted, those aren't really genetically her kids or anything, but there's nothing really, especially when they go into the background. The backstory of Wanda and her powers to suggest that Pietro had powers before that.
I don't know. It's gonna be a good ass question. I mean, I believe that the best way to figure out the answer to this question is Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of
It's
Madness.
wait, yep, I agree.
That's the only way because we were so focused on Wanda, and then when we found out about the fake Pietro, we were like, all right, fuck him. But what you just asked is like a legit good ass question because they're twins, so we saw how it worked for her. What about for him? So
Hmm.
the way how I see it is basically like the power of the Mind Stone has the ability to just manipulate. Well, no, that's like the
No,
reality stone.
this wouldn't be a question had they not changed the origin story. Because Pietro's powers or Peter Maximoff's powers were always just because he's a mutant. But seeing as that's not a thing right now, and Wanda's powers are solely based on magic in the MCU, and mutants aren't even a thing,
Well,
explain to me.
it kind of did before she even came to the. Well, I don't know. It came to the point where before she even got to the Mind Stone, like she had powers to stop the bomb.
Right.
Yeah. Now, but
Peter
how
didn't
they
have those running fast powers. Because those are her powers are powers you can hide. I'm sure if Peter had those running fast powers of any inclination, because I'm pretty sure the distress of being almost blown up unleashed her powers. Because they always say in the stupid ass New Mutants movie, ugh, that the mutants pretty much, and we've kind of seen this through all the Marvel, X-Men and everything, that mutants powers are kind of like something that happens like a spontaneous kind of like
stressful
a coming
moment.
of age stressful moment, like a puberty thing.
Yeah, like for
So why would
example,
not Peter not run the fuck out of the way? I'm about to get blown up.
see, we
See?
could ask questions because that's something that we completely forgot all about because everything was focused on Wanda.
Wanda, right. But
So,
you can't have Wanda without Pietro. And I was hoping that Pietro was going to come back because, as we know, Pietro ended up marrying one of the Eternals. Not the
well,
Eternals.
we don't, we hey, never know. He may do come back because Doctor Strange 2 supposed to be like a very climactic shift in the
Mm-hmm.
MCU, and with WandaVision now, Wanda turned into Scarlet Witch with the Darkhold book. She's they're saying that now the MCU is going to be changed forever because of that.
Because of this, yeah.
So whatever that she's doing with that Darkhold book, and then you hear the kids going on in the background. And my theory, she's basically learning how to tap into different multiverses. I guess like no, it almost made you think like maybe it sounds like it's a memory, but no, like she's hearing or and looking for a possibility
This happened in another universe.
happening in another universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of like the same thing what Doctor Strange was doing in
He was astral projecting, but Wanda's
yeah,
better than him because he
yeah.
astral projects while he sleeps. She astral projects while she walks around her little cottage making tea and
Not
living her
just that.
life.
You know how Doctor Strange was able to see in alternate timelines of how we're gonna win and how we're gonna lose.
Yep.
Right?
Looking
So
for a timeline where she has kids.
exactly. So now she's has the power in learning the dark hole book of how to truly project. Because like at the end of the day, she's basically like the side villain, or probably the main
Yeah.
villain. I don't know. She's gonna be bad. Where
I
she's
feel like
gonna
one of those villains we theorized for her show is going to be the main villain in Doctor Strange.
Mephisto.
Mephisto or Nightmare or one of them is going to be the main villain in Doctor Strange. Because though basically WandaVision, especially if you watch it all now, is basically like a 6.5 hour movie. That's why the first two episodes were so slow, because in a real movie, that's how the movie would progress.
Yeah. Have
So
you seen this deleted scene they were talking about?
with Mick Scratchy or Sir Scratchy, no.
Oh yeah, it was yeah, that was just like a discussion. It wasn't no video, nothing like that. So yeah, this says Scratchy was supposed to turn into this big ass beast.
Which is stupid because why isn't Senior Scratchy Nicholas Scratch?
I
Who
don't know.
people now know, I don't want to say now know, but now are kind of like aware of the person Nicholas Scratch because of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Because before that, no one knew what a Nicholas Scratch was until, I mean, unless you really read the comics. But now that people have been digging into Agatha Harkness and they know that her son is Nicholas Scratch, it seems like, oh, people who were like fans of that show would be like, oh, Nicholas Scratch, I know that person. And I thought that was
Hmm.
perfect. I thought that would be perfect for like, oh, she's carrying around her child as a familiar. But
Uh,
I want to ask you this question, which I kind of read about it just earlier this morning, which I never thought about. But I want to see your take on it. So Billy not only has telekinesis, but he has telepathy. He could
hmm.
read minds. He could hear his dad was literally being ripped to shreds outside of the hex. and he knew that he couldn't really read Agatha's mind, in her space of her runes. No one else could pretty much use any kind
Hmm.
of magic in her space.
Yeah.
So that leads me back to, she's basically putting her kids to bed to die or whatever. And the last one we look at is Billy, and he has like a smile of like as if he could read his mom's thoughts.
Mm.
Do you think that Billy is the voice she heard, somehow using his powers to call out to his mom?
Yeah, I really believe so. I really believe that was Billy, not the other one, not the other twin. Um, because he's pretty much similar to his mom,
Hmm.
to able to project thoughts to other. What's the classes of mutants? Was it class 1 or class
Yeah, so like he's
10?
up there with like Jean and Xavier.
Hmm. So he's able to have the ability of like reaching out and calling to his mom, because it's very something special about him that he could the most, do more than the new Avengers, the young Avengers. I think that's what it's called. Than
Hmm.
what they can. So yes, that would be the answer to my question. I really believe that was him reaching, calling for his mom, because they pretty much had the ability to reach far and wide.
Because
Than
didn't
the
said when he said dad needs our help, didn't he show his mom what he was seeing, or didn't she like reach into his mind and see what he was seeing or something like
Yeah,
that?
because you got I think so, because it was the reason why she expanded the
Banded, yeah.
hex. Yeah,
Because she
because
saw what he was seeing, or I don't know if he gave her the vision of what he was seeing. I don't know how they did that, but somehow they communicated, through their minds, and she was like, well, I can't reach him in time.
I'm just real curious of what's going on at that multiverse where Billy is calling his mom for help.
That's a good question too. Why do they need help? Because the lore of them in the lore of the twins in the comic books is that once she dismantles everything, their spirits are pretty much just reincarnated.
Hmm.
So they're not even biologically her kids. They just have the same soul.
Yeah.
So which means she probably took random souls, and
Really?
those souls came back to who they were originally going to go to. You know what I mean? Like you don't
Wow.
just create a soul. Like I'm pretty sure Mephisto, because it was part of Mephisto originally, who was actually the real father of the twins.
Yeah, and see, that's what everybody was looking forward to. It's like
Hmm.
we're going to see, because my theory was whatever that's going to happen at the end of the show is going to be the reason of this expansion of this
Right.
multiverse fuck up. Because like in the MCU, everybody was like, not in the MCU, in the House of M, her power, she was so powerful, she said no more mutants.
Right.
And everybody thought like whatever happens, because she's gonna suffer another loss, like she did with Vision. Like she lost Vision out of emotion, she brought in another Vision through her chaos magic. And
Hmm.
now she's leaving, she's up with an ultimatum, like, all right, if you do this, you'll have your kids, but if you don't, you'll lose your
I
kids.
like I
You know.
like how they hinted at we got killing her as an option, because in the House of M, the reason why she was able to get away while everyone was discussing what to do is because they didn't want to kill her. They argued about that. So I like
Exactly.
how in the show where they're like, we got to kill her, and someone was like, no, because that
Hmm.
was kind of like a play on the comics, because terminating her was definitely on most people's minds in the House of M. Anyways, it's just I knew going into this that this wasn't going to be House of M, because there's no M's.
No.
There's no M's for her to wipe out. There's no Magneto for her to be her king. She doesn't even have Pietro. So it's just like, I know this wasn't gonna be a play on it, but I knew this was not going to be like the storyline. How like they
Yeah.
took the whole in-game storyline with Thanos and the Gauntlet, how they pretty much pulled that from the comics and just tweaked it here and there. I knew that
Hmm.
this was not going to be that
See,
because
I
there
thought it was just
the
going to be
element
like an opposite.
too many elements. You thought she was going to create mutants.
Yeah, a lot of people
That
thought
would
it
have
was going to be the opposite
been
because in
cool.
the House of M, it was like she erased no more mutants. But because and if you remember like a little hinted teaser of WandaVision, you had Wanda explaining uh the character of Scarlet Witch, like Elizabeth Olsen as herself. She's explaining the origin of Scarlet Witch in the House of M, and she put the comic book right next to her mouth, said "No more mutants." But a lot of people in their theories uh, thought it was going to be like the opposite. Just like
Never
how like with your example, like with the Infinity War, it was a different way around, but it made sense. Um, like I said, it was going to be with an option where one of the kids or both of the kids dies or Vision dies again, and she's just going to say like whisper like more mutants, and we thought like the hexagon, whatever, was going to get big, and everybody's going to be altered, and then next thing you know, you have people that's mutants now, and it kind of hinted that towards Photon as well, because you see Photon that went through there whole bunch of times,
Mm-hmm. Are we
and
going with Photon?
well, I call her Photon.
I'm calling her Photon too. But I feel
Yeah,
like I'm just gonna keep calling her Photon. I'm gonna keep calling her Photon. She's gonna get a name. It's gonna be Spectrum or something.
it's
And I'm gonna
probably
be thrown. I'm gonna be thrown off. But I'm cool with
probably
rocking with Photon.
yeah. But if we say Photon, people know what we're talking about.
Right.
But as you can see, like her genes were being manipulated when she kept going in and out of that realm.
Mm-hmm.
So people were seeing that and created with other fan theories like, oh, this could be a
She
way
mutants.
she creating
Oh.
mutants. Yeah, like
Because other than Monica and the beekeeper who just magically disappeared, well, that's another question. We're gonna get into that later. Um, no one, everyone else was just engulfed in it, and then it came down.
hmm
No one had to go back and forth. She merged into it by touching it the first time, was forced out of it, and then pushed her way back in to give her powers. That wasn't even that many times. So the beekeeper guy should have gone through the same thing.
and we don't know what the fuck happened to him.
What happened to him?
Don't know what the fuck
I got
happened to
another
him.
one for you. Who is the fucking why were we in Westview to begin with? Because Jimmy had a missing person who is now missing. Or he had a witness protection, someone in witness protection who is now missing. Who?
See, I saw that on your Facebook page, and I meant to go back and look it up. Like, who's the missing person that we missing out on? I have to go back and look that up. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that.
The only reason why Monica was even there is because there was a missing person.
Who was the
Jimmy
missing
Woo
person
couldn't
though?
find his Jimmy Woo couldn't find his person in witness protection, so that person was missing. But when she got there, he realized the whole town was missing. But he went for a specific person. Who?
So you went back and rewatched everything, and you still don't know who the missing person is.
When I tell you, I watched the whole series weekly from when it came out. Um, right before the last episode, my brother had came to visit. He came to visit from Oregon, not Oregon. Yeah, Oregon. He came to visit from Oregon, and I was like, "We got to watch this. Every episode's only 30 minutes. Please, 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 please. I'll put my Disney Plus info on your PlayStation."
Right.
And we binged the whole well, up until the second to last episode because the last one hadn't aired yet.
Yeah.
And I, really got it. And I told Nick because Nick, my brother, was like, "I want to watch this, but like, don't like splurt shit out because you've already seen it." So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be
I ain't gonna say shit.
I've never seen this before. I'm really big on making sure that people who've never seen something before are getting the same type authentic, first view of it like I did. So I didn't say nothing, but all the while I'm clocking it. I'm like, we came up here for a missing person because Jimmy can't find whoever is in witness protection. And then Monica becomes their whole focus. once she gets zoomed in, and we don't ever give a fuck why Jimmy was there in the first place.
So
Why
do
was
you
he there? Why did he go to Westview? Who was he looking for? Was it just really just a whole nobody that it didn't need to be brought up again? Or is that something it's going to be brought up later in the MCU? Was his missing person Ralph?
don't know, man? You think it
Because
could be
no,
a
because
plot
Ralph
hole?
took over Agatha. Okay, so let's think, let's look at it from from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Wanda goes to see Hayward about Vision's body. I'm assuming she got that intel that his body was there, because I'm assuming she first went back to Wakanda, because that's where she got zapped back to.
Yeah.
And Vision's body, of course, who was dead, was already gone.
Right.
So, Agent Ross, who was always seen like, talking to him like through a 3D hologram, who pretty much got all the Avengers together, probably told her Hayward has Vision. And that's why she went to Hayward, who's
Yeah.
already well into his own master plan that we find out. Did Vision really leave that? Who left that paper in her car to go to Westview? Because she drove there, didn't have that paper. She got back in the car angry. I can't feel you anymore. You're really dead. Got back in the car. There's an open envelope telling her to go to New Jersey. Without even thinking, she just fucking goes to New Jersey.
Okay,
Who put
now
that in her car?
I'm gonna have to rewatch all. I'm gonna have to rewatch this shit now.
Who
So
put
you
that in
telling me?
her
So
car?
you telling me she drove the way there in her car, came back in her car. Next thing you know, is a fucking envelope.
Like, she gets back in her car and she looks down at the envelope that says New Jersey with V, and she drives to that plot. That plot that in the middle of a fully functioning fucking town is just dirt.
What in the
You're telling me
fuck?
neighbors on both sides of her house, and we're just gonna leave a plot right there, just dirt?
So what you
I
thinking
feel like
then?
she, I feel
So
like she was set up.
said about who though?
I don't. That's why I was really. That's why the theories were so strong, because people. I feel like people thought she was set. I thought she was set up to go to this exact place in Westview. Like, no one could have known she was going to explode on this plot and build a hex all over the whole town.
So
So
my
that's the
theory
hex
is.
they use.
So my theory with that, from analyzing what I watched in the show
Mm-hmm.
with this one specific character, Hayward. Um, I wonder if Hayward was looking for a reason to get rid of Monica. I mean, not Monica.
Of Wanda.
Wanda. Yeah,
Did Planet that
because
I don't know if he wanted to get rid of her or if he just wanted to make her traumatic experience all that more traumatic, because he planted the seed in her head, because she left without that body, even though he told everyone she stole it. She left without it.
yeah, he was telling people that she stole
She
it.
stole
Because
it.
here's what Hayward was reminding me of. He was reminding me of Stryker, the dude who was part of the Weapon X
Weapon
program,
X, yeah.
and but then at the same time, he was one of those people who hated mutants. You know, like
He it's the able body. And it seems like every villain is always like that in the MCU. Some people have to have
I
more
feel like. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you go ahead.
Because I just feel like Hayward is going to be one of those people that's going to be inventing like a program to get rid of like because he was like the first person like and I'm not talking about like uh that guy who's
Zumo.
yeah and not just him the guy who's going to be leading the Thunderbolts Colonel Ross I think that's his name
Oh, Colonel
yeah
Ross. Oh,
yeah
well,
because
Colonel Ross is seen to be, which they completely like reconned his character, because he seemed to be the good guy. He is the speak between to the Avengers after the blip. Like when they meet, like Okoye and Brie Larson or Captain Marvel and not Wanda, Natasha, Black Widow all meet each other. They're talking to Ross. Like he's like their head.
Yeah,
Hacho.
like his thing was just he didn't hated them. His thing was just all about government control. Now
Right.
for Hayward, Hayward was gonna shoot a fucking kid. He was gonna shoot this kid that has powers.
You've
And
been watching this little nigga for a week and a half. You know he's got powers like his mom. You know the other one is faster than your bullets. You don't even know if they're real kids in Westview because
hmm
that kid could just be a kid. She just said, "You're gonna play my kids."
exactly.
Stupid.
Yeah. So do you think that script that could have been scripted a little bit more better, or was that like intentions of him like he's really like an evil dumbass, you know, like he's really
I
like
feel like he is a product of surviving the blip because for Wanda and for Monica, it's only been a few weeks,
hmm
and Hayward has lived through the blip, the 5 years after that, the end game bullshit, and he's really like, I fuck no.
seen
And
it.
and since Vision died, like really died, he thought
hmm
that if we could bring him back online, he is our best bet of something strong enough to be an Avenger, but controlled by the government. Since the government still, we hear in the show, still has the Sokovia Accords are still a real thing,
hmm
which is going to lead straight into the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I don't know if they have to recon some stuff and do it differently because they got shot out of order. But I don't know if you remember, because of the Sokovia Accords, Sharon Carter, Peggy's niece, is on the run because she helped them get away.
Yep, she sure is.
So if that show would have come before, I feel like it probably would have set up the hatred that Hayward has probably a little better because it just seems so forced. Like, huh? What are you
Yeah.
talking? Like, what? All of a sudden you're just the bad guy? What? We know you 2 episodes. And they kind of did the same thing they did with Zumo in Civil War, which I actually watched a breakdown of everything wrong with that movie, and then they list off Zumo's plan like bullet point, and it was just like everything is literally up to chance. This is not a real plan. Like, what are you like? This couldn't have been his whole plan because a lot of this stuff. How did you know he was gonna be mad at him? Iron Man knew that Zumo had a mask of Bucky, so you knew it wasn't really Bucky that blew up the whole thing. That blew up the original Black Panther. Like he knew all of this and still got mad at him. How could you know that he wouldn't have been understanding? Knowing that he was brainwashed, knowing all this stuff. How did you know? Iron Man. Like a lot of the stuff they feel like they don't fully develop these bad guys because they're not developed over 5 movies like Thanos was. So
Of course.
they just kind of throw a villain at us and we're supposed to be like, oh my god, he's so scary, when it's just like he has like no threat. He's a fucking human being. Everyone on our team could literally kill him by punching him in the face in the right spot. And I'm
Right.
talking even Hawkeye. So it's like there's really no.
I really didn't think of it that way because all I know he was like a really dude that was pissed off from Sokovia get blown up by the Avengers and Ultron, and then he just really going into like a detailed master plan of how to disassemble the Avengers. You know,
Just go up.
like
Just think about his plan. Just just think about his plan. He had no way of knowing what was going to happen in Lagos because that was not even him. That was Crossbones.
yeah,
You couldn't have known that she was going to absorb a bomb and throw it into a building, thus causing the Sokovia Accords, thus following the meeting of all the unions that in turn blew up, what the Wakanda King of Wakanda, which he used Bucky's face mask to say it was him, just in turn to bring Bucky out of hiding, which he seemed to have already knew where that was at. No, I lied. They found Bucky. They found Bucky, but just for him to get Bucky back in custody, just to read a jerk, like he killed a doctor to pose for that. How did you know? How could you have planned for that? Then how did you know that that book that you found from a random guy that was hidden in a wall in his house was
Mm.
going to be accurate? How did you know it? A lot of his stuff was based on chance because a lot of his plans started to come out in the middle of it. That's how Iron Man knew that Bucky wasn't really the one who blew up Zemo because blew up the Accords meeting of, because he saw that there was a mask and he saw that the dead doctor was found in his in his, hotel room with the mask. Iron
Well,
Man being Iron Man should have been like, oh shit, Captain was right. Oh man, sorry, Bucky. And then when they found out that Bucky's the one that killed his parents, you already know he was under mind control since before your parents were born, and you're still mad.
that part kind of hit me though when he said, like, dude, like Captain America was trying to tell, like, it wasn't him. He was under mind control. He said, I don't care. He killed my mom. They were like,
No,
ooh,
someone else killed. That's like saying Pinocchio killed your mom. No, someone pulling Pinocchio's strings killed your mom.
yeah.
And you're Iron Man. You're supposed to
But
be
this
the
is,
smartest people on the planet.
but it's Iron
Smart
Man being the smartest. He may be the smartest, but then at the same time,
He's
I
very
guess,
emotional.
yeah, we're talking about trauma here, though. Like
Yeah.
that's a like I said when he said like I don't care, he killed my mom. Like that's a sensitive touch. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
have that relationship with my mom. I think that's another reason why the Batman versus Superman Martha stupid shit doesn't get me because
uh,
it's like that is the stupidest thing. Although if another person mom's name is Nikisha, I might be like, you know what? My mom's name is Nikisha too.
I'll be like, I don't give a fuck.
Because it's like Martha. Martha is the name. Do you know how many fucking Marthas there are? Also, why didn't they get creative with the creating of the names of these fucking origin moms? I know they're both dead. Actually, Martha was not dead. Well, Martha Kent wasn't.
Yeah, Martha Kid wasn't, but they was about to kill other stuff. Like I said, that now that on that Batman versus Superman, they little Civil War thing, like that could have been a
Terrible.
lot more. That was terrible. That could have been a lot more better. But
Terrible.
on the Civil War, Captain America Civil War, with they little battle and feud and stuff, like hidden we're talking about hidden trauma that's not fully healed for Tony Stark, which pretty much like that's led him to the person that
How
the
do you
way
think Bucky feels
he
when
didn't think about that.
I died? I was serving my country.
Hmm.
And then I come to decades later, I've killed hundreds of people. How do you think I fucking feel? I didn't mean to kill your mom. I don't even know your mom.
No, and see the thing is, it's like he just thought it was a car accident. Was it labeled as a car accident or was it?
I believe no, I don't know because it was clear he shot one of he shoots her in the video. Which
Yeah, but
another
did they mark
I
it?
don't
But didn't they
understand
mark?
is how was that video even found when in the video he clearly shoots the camera. How we get
Well,
this footage?
well, that's the thing. Like, that's what I'm asking. Like, was it marked up to be like a car accident,
I don't
or
think
was it like?
he shoots Tony's mom. I'm pretty sure he shoots the dad
Well,
died on.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know, but things. He
Oh,
was
do
a
you think
kid.
that he thought it was a car? I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole thing was a setup. You know what I'm saying? It was
Yeah.
like a real like legit assassinated hit, and made it seem like it was a car accident. But watching the video, next thing you know, it's like it wasn't a car accident this whole time. You okay?
I think no, I'm just rolling my down. Yeah, I think like to the public and to Tony's knowledge, it was a car accident. It was an
Yeah,
accident.
that's what I'm saying. And then when he watches the video, oh, it's a legit assassination, and this dude like straight up like killed my mom. Like, I guess for my theory, like what you're saying, it was so much of emotion trying to catch up the reality of it, and then he didn't really stop and think it through. I mean, I have a somewhat of I would have handled it differently, but it's a movie and I'll take it. I don't want to get too
Well,
deep.
of course, I took it. I took that and three movies after that.
I did. I would. I would. Yeah. Like I said, it's like one of those things. Like I wasn't really. ruined the whole movie
It
completely.
didn't wasn't detrimental to the entire plot. I was more worried about how outrageous this mortal man Zumo's plan was.
So you think
That was more unbelievable than Iron Man being irrational and fighting these two metahumans at the same time.
so do you
That
think
was
this is so you think Winter Soldier, Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you think this will be their chance to actually have a breakdown better for that?
of Zumo. Yes, because
Cause this motherfucker found like the first thing you see in Captain Falcon, not in Captain Falcon. The first thing you see in Civil War, like this dude found a Hydra, retired Hydra dude.
right, and knew
Came in
exactly where it was at in his house.
exactly like he knew like how to. Well, they did do like a background, like he did like I do remember in Civil War, like they did do like a background, like he was like straight up military dude, like has a way of espionage and all kinds of shit and stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah, but still
to
to
have
your
outsmarted
theory,
the Avengers, though
but still to
I
your
want to
theory,
say
like
he
it was
is
a
one of the
setup.
best villains. He outsmarted the Avengers,
Yeah.
two of which are geniuses.
Which two? Which one? Which two you talking about?
Oh, Hulk wasn't there. I lied. He
Which
outsmarted. I was gonna say Hulk and Tony
no,
created the villain.
he outsmarted Tony and Black Panther.
He outsmarted Tony and Black Panther. He he basically is one of the only villains to even survive his movie. Think about it. Everyone,
Mm,
think about it.
well, you remember,
I
uh,
Red Skull did get zapped to another planet, which we saw he unfortunately survived for him.
yeah,
Um, Tony Stark's people die.
yeah.
Um,
Except for that Hammer guy, he ain't dead yet.
they he
You
was in
rem
Justin Hammer, but was Hammer wasn't the villain.
he's a potential villain though,
He
like
is, but we're talking about main villains.
main villains.
Mickey Rourke's character is dead. Obadiah in the first one is dead. Who was the third one? The Mandarin wasn't even a real fucking person.
That was weird.
Oh,
That Iron Man 3, it was weird. I don't know who just sat
shout out
down.
to Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings because we'll get a real Mandarin in that one.
Thank God.
Um, let's run down what's next. Captain America, he got zapped. Red Skull got zapped. Winter Soldier,
Clearly still alive, but he wasn't really the
he
main
wasn't
villain.
really the villain. You know what I mean? And then we have the third Captain America, which is the one where Zuma survives. Then we have Avengers. The Chitauri people got blown the fuck up. That those are one of those nameless, faceless armies that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then Thor, his first villain, dead. His second villain, dead. His third villain, both of them are dead. His sister and Ragnarok.
Oh, his sister and that big
Ken
soldier.
Ultra, yep, both gone.
Yep.
So when you
Dead.
who else has movies? I really hope
Well, Ant Man and the Wasp. Ant Man, he really
man,
ain't
that
killed
guy got
nobody.
shrunk into oblivion. Yellow Jacket,
Oh yeah, he gone. He ain't coming back.
he is gone. And
Yeah,
then the
he ain't coming.
second one was one of those ones where it wasn't even really a villain. It was like, I'm really doing this to help myself. Ghost.
Yep.
She
Yep.
wasn't even a real villain.
No, she's not a real. I think she's part of. I think she becomes one of the Avengers teams. I don't know. It's like.
Yeah, it's like if I had the ability to not die and hurt from this, I wouldn't be a bad guy. Like
But
I'm
for
just
her,
survive.
but for her, she was dying.
That's what I'm saying.
Like.
If I have the ability to not hurt because she was in pain and not die, I wouldn't even be a threat. I don't
Hmm.
want anything. I don't want the world to end. I don't want to take over. I just want to not be dead. So
I thought
that's
that's
her
what she was
story.
doing the whole time. It was like something that she needed to
She
do.
needed it. So she's not a real, she does not count as a real villain to me.
No, she didn't know.
Thanos is now dead. Who else
But you
has,
know they say, but you know they saying they talk about bringing back Ultron too. So we're gonna see.
how?
Uh
Uh, let's hear this. Because how?
oh wait, well never mind. That's a old theory now because that's no longer confirmed. because somebody was saying the parts they were using from the old Vision, they said they were gonna take that and um, create that into the Ultron, like a different Ultron, but completely at that time I didn't even think about the
But
White
how do
Vision.
you create Ultron? Because Ultron created himself essentially.
Yeah, of course, but we're talking about like they
But
were gonna use it.
White Vision is a whole different arc. And then the White Vision in the comics was like kind of like essentially evil until they put him into another synthesoid body, and it was just like they used someone else's memory. It was like a whole different thing in the comics.
But
But this
they done
one,
kind of like jump started this on the WandaVision
by
though.
giving him his own memories back.
Yeah, besides going through that whole process, they just use like the color vision. You see how these people coming out with these memes talking about vision, like the color vision and the white vision, and then they
Him
got
being black.
yeah, like they got the color vision with the chain and the do rag on. I like what
I was like,
happened?
huh? Now I have a question for you. When do you think we're gonna see Vision, new Vision, again? Because obviously this Vision has memories but doesn't have any of the emotions behind it. He knows what happens, but it's also like he's reading a book on it. It's not like I know I loved Wanda, but I'm really just kind of like watching a video of it.
Yeah.
I know that she tried to save the world, trying to kill me. We spent this time, in between Civil War and the first not Endgame. What was the other one called?
Infinity War?
Yeah, so they spent some time together in between and Civil War and Infinity War, and he has all of those memories. He knows how he was born. He's aware that he was Jarvis, but that means nothing to him.
So
Do you think? I'm
when we
pretty
will
sure
see
this is
him
the
again.
last we're going to see of Paul Bettany playing the Vision. When do you think he would be a good time for him to come back? Because they obviously left that very, very open ended with the way that White Vision um,
He just got up
leaves,
and disappeared.
got up, disappeared. We don't know if his mission was to, oh, I am Vision, let me go self-destruct. We don't know if he's just going to go reflect. We don't know if he's going to go back to Hayward and be like, what the fuck? So when do you kind of theorize he might fit back into the story? Because
Okay.
there's no more Tony that could probably bring more Jarvis back into it. There's no more, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no more. I mean, Suri. The only other thing I can think of is that Suri downloaded a lot of the contents from the Mind Stone and intent on putting that into Vision once the Mind Stone was destroyed. Remember how
Yeah.
she said we could kind of separate it, but it never kind of gotten fully completed. But I'm sure Vision wasn't that damn old. He didn't have that many memories. She wasn't far off from being done. Now, do you think if like Suri would be where she would be the one helping, because she's obviously the new Black Panther, she might be
Right.
to help bring Vision back to Vision?
Well,
Or you think that might be Wanda?
well, now it's two questions. So I would say to your first question, when we will see the White Vision again. So
Mm-hmm.
like I said, let's go in order. So the next up is Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, and you got Black
Spider-Man
Widow.
comes first.
Huh?
Black Widow, I don't really count Black Widow because that's not going to help the continuity of the story because that's happening. We're going to
Well,
say
Black Widow.
10
Well,
years ago
yeah,
because 5 years passed, and then there was the time. This happens in between when they break up from Civil War and before Infinity, where they save Wanda and Vision in Infinity Wars.
yeah. I
So
know. I'm
that's what
just
that.
going things in order right now. Like the
Mhm.
things about to come out. So I'm just going in order and just eliminating the process. Um, I mean, we know Black Widow was supposed to come out first, but thanks to COVID, it had to be pushed back. And things of continuity done changed a little bit. So, like I said, one out the way, Captain Falcon, the Winter Soldier. That's not gonna be possible. Loki, don't think so. Maybe I don't think so though.
Do you
Uh,
Side note, do you feel like Loki is going to be focusing in the past since technically he is 2014 Loki?
I'm gonna get to that. Hold
Okay.
on. Now.
I just want to throw my questions out there because I am drinking wine when
Yeah.
I remember them. So you go back. So Loki, and then I think they have the what if.
Yeah, let me hurry up and answer your question. Let me hurry up and answer your question though. You're really in tune. This is a great show. But you're really in tune. This is a great show. So
I don't
I
normally
want,
want to talk to, so I gotta just throw it all on you.
like I said, you got the platform. You know where I'm at now. So um I don't think he's gonna show with Spider Man. Spider Man got like a whole bunch of other stuff going on. So I would say probably like the next thing you gonna see the wife is just to show back up is probably like Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. Because if you want to go to the like the closest thing that he'll relate to coming back for is
True.
Wanda. So
Mm-hmm.
because now you have the vision when he touched him, he's definitely not any more of like you saw the android eyes and now his eyes start to look similar like the color vision.
Mm-hmm.
So now he has the memories, maybe the emotions. Let's just say he has like a better understanding of what's going on now, and he's flying off and figured out like, okay, what does he need to do? So pretty much the white vision, he's probably gonna figure out like what is the best motive. So he's probably gonna be somewhere realizing what Wanda is doing, and so he's probably like gonna intervene and try to stop that all over again. So that is my best guess. And the answer to your second question, uh, I think I answered your second question, or what was my second question?
I think you answered it, but I do have
Okay.
another for you. I mean, another question for you. If Vision had no recollection of his life before WandaVision, before he was created for WandaVision, and then all he really got was a rundown from Darcy's perspective, which how could she really even know everything? What memories did he give him?
Uh,
Because up
that's a good question
until
because that's a
he
good
didn't
question
know
because
anything. He didn't know anything.
no, he didn't. Like that's another good ass question because Darcy had to tell him what happened, and
Mm,
now you got this big ass battle to where like he touches the white one, and then all these visions of what he's been through is given
in
to
the
this one.
MCU, yeah. Because
Ah,
Flash, you could see when they flash, he's giving him MCU stuff, Jarvis stuff, what happened to him when he died. That vision
ah.
was made solely from Wanda, and he didn't know shit.
Yeah, because he was just basically created out of chaos magic,
And what
straight
he
pure
remembered of
emotion.
Vision,
Yeah,
right?
he didn't have a memory. Like
No,
he's just a fresh version out of emotion with no memory of what happened. So I'm wondering. Oh, that's a plot hole that's definitely going to have to be explained now. You blew my fucking mind.
what did he give him? Or did this Vision
Maybe
that Wanda
something
created
happened.
have the power to the power that Hayward didn't have? And did he just know, oh, if I touch this spot, I'm going to override what they did?
Oh, that's what happened. That's what happened. Um, he he basically unlocked data that was hidden from him. Like he had the memories, but he couldn't access it. So
Right.
when the color vision touched his like his temples and stuff like that, that's when he had a breach.
So colored vision basically did what he was doing to Westview people by snapping them out of the hex.
Yeah, yes, yes. Basically, Vision had all the knowledge, but none of the memory. He was basically like just giving objectives and information about
Mm-hmm.
him, Wanda, and whoever else, but anything else that related to the past. Because I remember that he told the color vision that I only have like limited access or whatever. So touch his temple, and all this flow of information that was available, like whatever in the internet, I guess, like that, started to bring back all kinds of data that turned into memories, and now, boom,
The crazy
that.
part is, if it was that easy, they could have worked with Wanda. Let my vision touch your vision. You
But
live, you live peacefully here. Let the people out.
but here's back to my theory about Hayward. Hayward Hayward seems to be the few people that we see in the MCU, or the first one to actually hate their kind, like like mutants.
But
Like you
what is
have
their, but what is their kind?
that's the
Some of
thing.
them are
Like we
genius.
don't
Some
know,
of them are
but
just really good fighters, like Hawkeye, Natasha, Tony. All these people are normal people.
yeah, they normal. But he sees something about them
Hmm.
that's way different, and like he just see like an abomination of a coming.
You're super strong. I hate you.
Yeah, like he's one of those people that these people are genetically powerful and doesn't belong to be here. You know, because Natasha and Hawkeye and Tony, we're talking about humans that could be
Anyone.
easily, yeah, could be easily or anyone. Like we're talking about like legit soldiers
I
and
mean, when you think
geniuses.
about it, the Hulk could have been anyone.
He
He went to
probably
the
don't
wrong
like the Hulk
place.
either.
He was in the wrong place at the wrong time. All of these people could have been anyone. Captain
Yeah,
America, Winter Soldier,
he probably don't
Falcon.
like him either.
They all could have been anyone. There's nothing, it's not like a mutant thing where it was just like you're born that way. We could have, any one of us could have been in this predicament. You could have been in this predicament. Sorry, you were
Hmm.
unlucky. And now I have another question that's going to steer a little bit away from this.
Uh-oh.
Given that the next movie we see, other than Black Widow, that's coming out in a few weeks, the next movie we see after that is
Spider-Man.
Doctor Strange, that it is Spider-Man. How do you think the events of this show will kind of, reflect, because this is going to be Spider-Man happens, again after the events of Westview. Like that's already been put
Hmm.
out, that's the timeline. It goes like Tony's funeral, few days later, Monica comes back. A few days later, Monica goes to a brand new Westview. A
Hmm.
few days later, Westview's over. Next thing we know is Spider-Man. So I'm assuming Spider-Man is happening at the time Wanda is in her cottage in wherever she's at.
Hmm.
Now, I just have a question, like how do you think that's gonna like affect it? Because Spider-Man also has like the tendency to, and I think they do this kind of on purpose because they know they're not going to be holding on to Spider-Man that long, kind
Hmm.
of like barely touch on the event and not even really go continuity wise with it, because when you look back to the first Spider-Man, they reference the events of 2014, first Avengers, and then they don't even get the time period right of how long it's been since then.
Right.
First, it's just one off. Like, okay, they really know they're not holding on to him that long. Then
Yeah.
they go to the second one, and the way that people are snapped back is completely different.
Hmm.
Um, like the events, they
The
kind of
blimp.
touch on it. They shoved Iron Man's dead down your throat so that you know that, but they really kind of like barely hint on, the story continues, but it's like, yeah, that happened. That was a
Yeah.
thing. They don't really like touch on it in Spider-Man's, and I don't know if that is something that they're doing purposefully because they know that this is like this Spider-Man is the last Spider-Man in the MCU. So, and and once it goes back to what is it, Fox, that anything,
Sony.
Sony, I mean, they could do whatever the fuck they want with it. So it's just like,
Hmm.
did they not purposely bank what's going on continuity wise in a Spider-Man and just give us a Spider-Man for the sake of a Spider-Man? Like, what do you think is gonna, how is this gonna connect? Because again, this is the last Spider-Man. So
Did they say this like it's gonna be the last Spider-Man for the MCU? Did they say
Um,
that?
Sony negotiated one more solo movie from Spider-Man for.
Oh, okay.
for
Because I thought they had negotiated doing like more than just one,
I thought
or
I think it's like one cameo, like kind of like one ensemble movie, kind of like how he was in Civil War and the Infinity Wars, and then I think he gets the one more solo movie. So he's getting his solo movie right now, clearly, and then I think he's getting one more ensemble movie,
yep,
which there's a long way away from any kind of ensemble happening because since that phase ended, we're like completely retconning, and we're not even barely talking about the original Avengers. We have like Thor's movie, which Chris Hemsworth's contract was over at the end of Endgame,
Endgame. Yeah,
and
Chris
he said
Hemsworth. Yeah,
he only came back because he thought the script was good, and then he's of course you know handing the mantle of Thor and going by Odin's son and giving it to Natalie Portman or
right.
Jane. So, and then other than that, no one else, none of the original, all the original Avengers are done.
Hmm.
We have Black Widow's movie, we have Thor's movie, and then everything else is just new content, with the exception of Black Panther and Captain Marvel, who were previously introduced but are not original Avengers.
Of course.
So I'm thinking I don't think they're going to cram too much continuity wise into this Spider-Man because his fate is kind of like up in the air. I mean, they say that this is his last, MCU movie,
Hmm.
but they also broke up with Spider-Man before his other movie. So we don't
Hmm.
know we don't know for sure, but as of now, Spider-Man's pretty much done in the MCU. So I don't think that they're going to be banking off of any of the stories like Wanda's story or Falcon and Winter Soldier story
And
or
Hawkeye. I forgot about Hawkeye TV
Hawkeye's
series coming out too.
story, who's I think Hawkeye's story is going to directly lead into a Young Avengers because we already know that we're getting a Miss Marvel story with Kamala
Hmm.
taking up Miss Marvel. We got
Oh,
Brie.
we got a whole bunch of series coming
Yeah,
up,
we got
but
Brie up in space doing her thizzle, but we got a Miss Marvel on
right.
Earth with Kamala. We have Kate Bishop taking over for Hawkeye. We have
So what's
Kiera,
your
Cassie Lang.
so what's your question? Your question is like how would the MCU go now
Yeah,
after Spider-Man 3?
Spider-Man's the next installment. Do you think any of the shows, anything MCU related up until his um movie, because I feel like we're gonna at least have WandaVision, Captain Falcon, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Look what you got me saying,
It's
Captain
Cap.
Falcon.
No, I mean he turned into Captain Falcon. So
I'm going with continuity. Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki. We know we are gonna have at least three continuity stories. I don't count What If because What If is
it's what
animated,
if.
is it's animated and completely just a what if. But we have three continuity, so we have at least 15 hours of Marvel,
Yeah.
three shows getting put out before Spider-Man. Do you think any of that is going to be hinted at Spider-Man when they know Spider-Man's fate in MCU is kind of up in the air?
Um. So you asking like those shows are they gonna be like in continuity of Spider-Man?
Mm-hmm.
I would say no because one thing about Spider-Man in the comic books, Spider-Man is like a whole different thing itself. You know, because Spider-Man is such a popular icon comic book character, like Kevin Feige and other people saying, like he's actually like the one character that can switch from
Standalone.
one, yeah, switch from one version to like another, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And
I,
we've seen that with the Miles Morales coming out at the same time.
yeah. So the thing about that, I don't think so because Spider-Man they got too much going on. The best thing that we could do right now is that somewhere along the way that was hinted that Spider-Man and Doctor Strange is going to be a part of that of the Spider-Man 3 movie. because whatever happened in WandaVision is pretty much going to be a reason for something that Doctor Strange has to intervene dealing with what Spider-Man got going on. Okay, so
I mean, in the last Spider-Man movie, though Quentin Beck was lying, he did hint to the multiverse, and everyone was believing him because it was
oh,
plausible,
that's another troll.
and we know now that though he was lying, he wasn't wrong.
No, but it was kind of like another troll for us anyway.
Yeah,
But
I mean, most comic book fans knew he was full of shit. No one,
mm,
I didn't believe him because I, like I said, grew up watching the Spider-Man animated series, and we all know that Mysterio is just an illusions gimmick guy. That's his whole
he's full of
spiel.
shit. He's
He's
full of
full of
shit.
shit. We know that. I played the Spider-Man games. I was just telling you, I was playing that the Spider-Man games on my Dreamcast
Hmm.
and Dreamcast or GameCube. I think it was GameCube. And that we know that one of the big bosses was Mysterio, and it was basically him just smoke and mirroring Batman. I mean,
Hmm.
Batman, Spider-Man. Ooh, God forgive me. They're gonna eat me alive in the comics.
Going in
Yeah,
the
they well, it was just Spider-Man just being thrown around in a bunch of gimmicks, which they did in the movie, and I really appreciate that. But he does end off giving away Spider-Man's identity though. So it's like it seems like they left the movie off with so much more to explain. Um
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. Like I said, what's gonna happen because of the deal that Marvel and Sony has made. Pretty much, this is gonna be a way. After this, it's gonna be like his last MCU appearance, and then he's gonna like end up like in some type of multiverse mistake where he's gonna end up on Sony's side, and now he's gonna be dealing with these characters like Venom, Carnage, and stuff because
oh,
they
and Morbius
yeah, because they lining up all these characters in the Sony side
for
for the
Spider-Man
senators for
Vindication.
Spider-Man, yeah, for Spider-Man, for the senators, not senator, Sinister Six to be
Mhm.
formed up and happening like
Well,
Craven.
but we got to remember, Toby is making an appearance. Alfred Molina, who played the original
Now
Doc
hold
Ock,
on now, now hold on now,
Jamie Foxx, who was
yeah,
Andrew
but
Garfield.
yeah, but hold on now, like hopefully this probably is a troll, but they asked Tom Holland that question about Tobey Maguire and Andrew coming in to play as Spider-Man again. They declined. They said it's not going to happen. Now, once again, this is probably like a script that he was given that he was going based off of. So we don't
Can't
know.
trust this guy.
No, no. So it was too much hype. Like, how you gonna bring back Jamie Foxx as Electro and you gonna bring back Alfred Molina uh
Two
as
different Spider-Man
from
villains.
two different Spider-Mans? Like, come on now, like, and then let alone they got my boy back to play as J. Jonah Jameson, JJ.
Oh, he was never. If one thing's constant, J. Jonah Jameson is going to be played by what's his face?
His last
What's
name is Simmons.
J.K. Simmons, because he has played J. Jonah Jameson since the first time he played J. Jonah
And,
Jameson in every game, every movie, every time his voice is heard,
and
it's
he's
always
perfect.
he is J. Jonah Jameson. I
He's
don't think
perfect.
that was up for debate. I
No, no.
don't think that was up for debate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Kevin Feige did that smart. They was like, nah, we're not gonna we can't get rid of he's too it's not another person they could play a perfect J. Jonah Jameson.
Mm,
So yeah,
that's true.
so yeah, like I said, basically to answer your question, if this is gonna be like his last one on the MCU side, any other shows that's gonna relate to Spider-Man, um none of them, but just Doctor Strange 2 in the future that he's going to go over to Sony because you got
Oh,
Birdman, you got
I
Vulture over
thought
there.
about he's due for one solo movie and an ensemble movie.
Oh yeah, so he got one
And
more ensemble.
Captain Strange. Doctor Strange comes out after the Spider-Man movie.
So
Like right
that
after
means so that
that.
means whatever.
Spider-Man's probably gonna come up in that movie.
So basically, like,
I
because in
answered
the
the
comic books, in the comic books, Spider-Man deals with a lot of multiverse action. Like he goes from one multiverse to another
mm-hmm.
because him and he's interact with a lot of different superheroes, especially Doctor Strange. I mean, Doctor Strange is going to be like that next person for him after they say it's
Tony.
going to be after Tony.
Mm-hmm.
So you gonna have Doctor Strange like something fucked up in Spider-Man movie where he's gonna be probably showing up in the multiverse of madness, and then after that, it's said and done, he's gonna go back to Sony. I don't know any. I really don't know any other of these shows. Any of these shows gonna involve with Spider-Man. Probably like a little cameo or something like that. I don't
They
know.
could throw anyone in a mask, kind of thing.
Yeah, because uh,
Show that he's still there, but he ain't in this movie.
probably because Spider-Man, Falcon, and Winter Soldier, they had like a really good comedy clash in Civil War.
They did.
So yeah, so they probably gonna have something to throw that up in there and just be goofy with it. I don't know.
But let's not forget that Ant-Man and the Wasp is Quantum Mania.
That's gonna be like an introduction for like Fantastic Four.
I hope so. And just like someone like pointed out to me that the astrophysicist that helped Monica, well, not really because she did it on her own, with that vehicle, everyone was like, it's Reed, it's Reed, it's Richard Reed. Meanwhile, the director for the Fantastic Four hasn't even cast anyone. He is the same director from the Spider-Man movie. So I knew that was far-fetched.
It still could be. It still could be like a good. You don't have to have a cast and throw in like a good
I
hint.
but when the person showed up, it was just a normal person. That's why I was
Oh
like,
yeah, it
she
could
when she's
be.
like, oh, I'm calling an astrophysicist, and then the next episode, there was theories like the astrophysicist she's calling is probably a pre-Fantastic Four Richard Reed, which I really, really, really hope they get Fantastic Four right this time because this ain't Spider-Man. They can't keep reconning these people. Like I'm over it.
They're gonna get it right.
I hope so. It's
They're gonna
MC.
get it right.
I got good faith in that. I just I do have another question. What I've really been thinking about this whole time, and I hope they explain at least in Doctor Strange's movie, and I feel like that's what kind of makes me wonder where in the timeline Captain, I keep wanting to call him Captain, Doctor Strange's movie happens. Where was he at?
Who? Doctor Strange?
Yeah, that amount of magic, all
What?
those
Doing what?
during that week of Westview, all those spells cast at once, and then it being broadening out 8 miles when she was trying to save Vision, um, and then the Sorcerer Supreme even being referenced, and then the Darkhold is the book that was stolen from the secret part of the library that he wasn't supposed to be in because
Yeah.
remember the book that was stolen, and
Hmm.
then see that was indeed the Darkhold that
Yeah.
was missed. You would think that, I mean, Loki and Thor stepped on the streets of New York for fucking 30 seconds, and Loki was already thwarted because of his energy that he sends off.
Yeah.
So
That's a
you have
good
a
ass
whole
reference.
town of a population of 6,000 people, and then 8 miles after that, just full of magic, so much that it drew Agatha Harkness, who is nowhere near the Sorcerer Supreme,
Hmm.
to Westview. Where the fuck was Doctor Strange at? So it brings me to think like, where is the continuity? Like, where is Doctor Strange gonna fall into it? Because what if Doctor Strange was already in the multiverse of madness? It's like I can't do everything.
Well, WandaVision, not WandaVision. I mean, Scarlet Witch is more powerful than Doctor Strange, like they say.
But not powerful
So,
enough that she couldn't prevent Agatha from clearly walking into the hex after the hex was already a hex.
well,
Because
here's my
Wanda,
theory.
you got to think about it. Agatha wasn't there when she first did that. Her real neighbors were the black guy and Ralph.
Are you sure she wasn't there, or she could have been just there the whole time?
But how would she have known? She drove to New Jersey, saw the plot, got down on her knees, cried, and created the hex in a matter of five
Well,
minutes.
what about the envelope? Like,
Oh, you think the envelope draw? Because I was like thinking Agatha was drawn to the immense power that she exuded from the hex, which means that draws me to believe Agatha, she is a witch, so I can see it plausible. Walk through the hex. Walk through, walk through the hex, no big deal. Which wasn't that hard to do, seeing as Monica did it, no big deal. In the fourth episode, technically the first episode, she walked through the hex, no big deal, which Agatha probably did too.
yeah.
With Agatha, well, I don't know because
So, what's your question again?
where was Doctor Strange? All of this
Well,
magic.
well, here's my answer. It's probably the magic is so powerful. Maybe he just couldn't really sense it, and then due to the fact that it was like out of the out of the way, maybe he didn't have the ability. Maybe he maybe it's like certain sections where his alarms just go off, you know.
Oh
But
my!
like you said,
Answered my own question. Just
what?
thinking about it. Agatha, which I'm going to ask another question after I say this. Agatha had the
Just to
dark
let
hold.
you know, just to let you know, this has been 2 hours long.
Oh
So,
my god. Well, not technically because we were on the phone talking before we
oh
started.
yeah. I mean, we only been talking
Cut
for
and
30
splice,
minutes.
cut and splice. But
Yeah.
Agatha was already in possession of the dark hold. I just answered my own question by thinking that maybe because there's a whole chapter of Scarlet Witch chaos magic in the Darkhold that since Agatha being in possession of the Darkhold was maybe alerted by the Darkhold.
There you go.
So wow, when I ask questions, I just answer them myself. I'm so smart. But then that leads me to another question.
Helps me out.
Where did she get that?
Who? Agatha gets a book of the Darkhold.
Mm-hmm. Because it was clearly stolen out of the temple where the Sorcerer Supreme was at before Doctor Strange was there, because before he became the Sorcerer Supreme, we already saw that book was missing.
Um, I think it has something to do with Dormammu, I think, or some type of real powerful entity like Nightmare or something like that. Like just have the ability. Oh, wait
Answered
a
your
minute.
own
Never mind.
question.
No, wait a minute. I just thought about something. Never mind. Disregard. Because they said the Darkhold book was taken away before Doctor Strange got there, right?
Right.
Homeboy, that's in Doctor Strange
What the
with the makeup
Mickey
around his
Mickelson,
eyes.
Mickey Mickelson. I can't think of his name in the fucking. He was so
Yeah,
not.
maybe
They're
maybe
useless.
because
Mick, the new Johnny Depp in the Harry Potter movies. I mean, in the
yeah,
Strange movie.
maybe he had something to deal with it because remember it was him and other sorcerers that was like actually turned bad.
Working with Dormammu, and Dormammu created Mephisto.
Exactly. So there you go. Like he had to be the one to actually start taking the books like the Darkhold and stuff, and started working with Agatha.
Hmm. But then it seems like he was evil. But then I still don't believe. I don't want to believe that Agatha is bad. I don't want to believe Agatha. She never
Well, I'm
caused
gonna say,
anyone harm. Though she did, she could have released those people at any time. It seems like because she was taking them in and out of their fantasy all the time, that she could have easily let these people fucking go. But she really was just curious of why are you doing this, Wanda? How are you doing this? Well, really, really, how are you doing this?
here's the thing. Like you remember the black dude in Doctor Strange that was
Mortal.
teaching him? Yeah, Mordo.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you say his name, right? Mordo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like I wouldn't say he's really bad either. He just really just figured out some information that was being hidden from them
Right.
that really could be helpful. And same thing with
With
the other
Agatha.
character. Yeah, same thing with Agatha and the other guy that was in Doctor Strange too. That's supposed to be the
Mhm.
bad guy. Like basically, it was just like some information that
Mhm.
they were kept from them, and so they just collided, came and have a group together.
Mhm.
Start in their own beliefs of trying to do the right thing.
Right.
What they think is best for the world and what's best for them.
Yeah, because
Um,
when you think about it, Agatha's story of how she just kind of just stumbled upon this power because she read what she wasn't supposed to, is pretty much mirrors the bad guy in Doctor Strange. It was just like I went where I wasn't supposed to with no intent of being turned into an evil person or a bad person. It just, now that I know, I can't unknow.
it's just like Magneto. Magneto's not really a bad person.
Thank you.
Magneto's like a Malcolm X.
I feel like Magneto, yeah. It's like his intentions seem pure, but the way he's going about it is pretty fucked up. Did you really gotta move?
Another
Did you really gotta move a whole bridge to Alcatraz when you could have just got on somebody's car and flew over there?
Another example, Killmonger.
Now Killmonger didn't do anything.
No, but he's like the bad guy, but he's not really a bad guy.
Yeah, he didn't
He's
do it
doing.
because he was thwarted. He was going to do some evil things. Ken, I have to tell you something. I've been drinking wine. I really have to pee.
Do you just go pee, or I
Can
could just end the
you
show?
hear? No,
Huh?
I don't want to. I want to discuss. I want you to have so much stuff you have to cut and edit to make it the perfect show.
I ain't really got to edit that much. This is it. Like this is how like gonna drop it. But you know what? You go ahead, go pee, and I'm gonna go turn this heat off. Go ahead. I'll be right here.
Yeah, I'm gonna be right back. Just give me 2 minutes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you have it here, Kiera is going on her pee break, and this show has been 2 hours long. So we're gonna save this for part two because apparently we have a lot that we have to talk about.